What up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3 of the Dragon Ball Virgin podcast. You got me, Gozen, and Ray, the Dragon Ball Virgin, as your co-hosts. And we also got Lord D. Brigo. What up?
What up, boys? It's good to be here, man.
Good to have you. And we got a bunch of interesting stuff happening this arc. And it's one of those that are very episodic, a lot of different things happening rather than one whole arc. And we promise this time we'll try to focus more on the arc itself because we got a little sidetracked sometimes during the last podcast, part of the learning experience. But yeah, that's our goal. Focus more on the arc this time.
You know what, though? Since I'm an anime virgin and a Dragon Ball virgin, I think when you get someone on who's super passionate about Dragon Ball, like it's tough to not just share that passion.
No, and true. And it's I think having Danny from Geekdom 101 was awesome because he gave us so much information that's good moving forward, like for Dragon Ball, that like it's cool to know and it's cool to keep all this stuff in mind, like how they filmed it, how much work went into it, all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And so what we're pretty much gonna do here is first I kind of want to get Briggs's impressions, like his view of Dragon Ball real quick before we get into like a quick synopsis of what happened this arc, and then we can talk more about specific parts of it.
Sounds good. So you're trying to, like, it's my general consensus of what I think about Dragon Ball?
Yeah, what do you think about Dragon? Because obviously,
so
like, yeah, what's your background?
when I was young, I watched Dragon Ball Z. And then as I got a little bit older and started getting into anime, I watched all of Dragon Ball Z. And it wasn't until a while after that I'm like, why haven't I went on to watch like GT and like whatever, all the movies and stuff. I'm like, I never watched the original Dragon Ball, and I just wasn't super interested because obviously damn it, I can't say that. Never mind, that's a spoiler. I wasn't super interested because it looked very different, let's just say. But eventually I went and did it, and I'm surprisingly so. I actually like the original Dragon Ball on par with Dragon Ball Z, if not more.
Yeah, that's and I feel like we get a lot. I hear that a lot from people.
It's just a lot more, like, it's obviously like unrealistic because like Goku's already ridiculously strong, but it's a lot more grounded in reality, and I feel like it makes it a lot more fun because if I recall correctly, you guys just finished in the last arc watching like Master Roshi win the tournament, right?
Yes. Exactly.
So like Goku's still a similar level to like Krillin and Master Roshi and Yamcha, and it's not like it hasn't gotten overly ridiculous at this point.
No, not at all. And even in this arc, there are moments where he doesn't actually win, right? He needs help.
Exactly.
And obviously there are reasons for that, but yeah.
You guys watched the anime. I actually had, just to let everybody know, I read the manga for this one because it was a similar amount of like episodes to chapters, but like it was only 20 chapters. I could read that in 30 minutes to an hour versus the 16 episodes. That's like 5 hours of content to watch. Mm-hmm. So I read it just to be quicker. And I must say, I love how simplistic and easy to follow it is to read. However, I would love to hear the Dragon Ball Virgin's thought process on like watching the anime and everything.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, I've kind of talked about before, I have very limited, if not no experience in reading manga. So I think I'm staying with watching the episodes, but particularly in this arc, I think Gozen, you alluded to it, I found it very busy. I don't know, would you consider this the busiest arc out of the 3 we've seen so far? As in most, different things going on?
Yeah, I think so. And this is the thing. I think we're approaching more filler territory where I think there's actually more anime episodes than chapters in this arc. I think I noticed that when I told Briggs what chapters to read.
I lied. It was 12 chapters compared to 16 episodes.
Yeah. So that's pretty crazy because episodes should be able to get multiple chapters within it. So then we have a situation.
Just wait until you get to later in Dragon Ball and into Dragon Ball Z.
No,
it's probably like double the episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Chapter. And obviously we're going to offer that to all of our guests, like to read the manga because we understand not everyone is hosting the podcast, that people have multiple things going on. And it's cool that, they could even take the time out to actually read it. But
exactly, but I completely understand Ray's perspective because when I first got into anime, it took me years to start reading manga. And most of the time it was because I loved the source materials. I mean, I loved the anime so much. Like, for example, One Piece. I loved One Piece so much that I went on to read the manga. And that was the first manga I ever read. And I feel like when you first get into anime, it's like you think to yourself, "Why? I don't want to read. I just want to sit back and enjoy and watch." You're getting into an entirely new medium, and manga is just so different.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, but like I do think there are great filler stuff. And I read today that Toriyama, like the author, actually oversaw like the filler stuff. It wasn't just like you guys do whatever you want. It was like him actually at least watching it and being like, is this okay or not okay kind of thing. So
Oh,
obviously
awesome.
it's arguably not as canon, but it still is to an extent. And for that reason, like, you know, it's worth watching because you know it has Toriyama's blessing in a sense. And the other thing is, like, it was hilarious. I feel like a lot of the stuff that actually made me laugh out loud, I don't remember laughing this much as I did like watching these arcs. Like, I don't remember last time I laughed this much because there was some very funny moments, and I think some of them Briggs were actually in the fillers. Like, for example, did you get the two balls in your pants, in your clothes, under your clothes comment?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, man, there was like, there were
That was
hilarious moments that,
that was hilarious. I'm like, is this actually gonna happen? And then sure enough, it happens.
yeah, and like we can get into it more later, but just like for Briggs, so there's this filler character, and she's supposed to be like this the best ever thief, and then so she goes to try to steal the Dragon Balls for the Red Ribbon Army that Goku has. And so she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting something. You have two balls underneath your clothes." And
Wow.
then Goku's like, "Oh my god, that's true." And he just pulls down his pants, and it's like, here they are.
Yeah, that was not in the manga.
Bro, that was like one of the rolling off my couch laughing moments.
God
Like,
damn.
oh my god. And and the dude, like, she's like, did he do that on purpose? But the dude literally is like so innocent. And
Yeah.
and then everyone watching was like, yo, everyone has those, Goku, if you're a man. And he's like, oh really?
Oh my God,
He
that's
was
amazing.
impressed that she knew, man.
I'm pretty sure she's like, he's either a genius or the most naive person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And he's 12 years old, so we got that information last arc, and then we're bringing it into this arc as well. So yeah, like he's really young. He's constantly positioned as this country bumpkin that like doesn't know anything about the city, and like the city things are hilarious. But
Oh, can I just say,
yeah,
it's so interesting to me, like looking back at like the original Dragon Ball and seeing like I guess the future of Dragon Ball has this as well, but I kind of forgot about it. Like you have it's like futuristic and prehistoric at the same time.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Like
like yeah, go for it.
towards the end of this arc, I know we should probably go in order and let Ray cover it, but just quickly, I want to say like you see like a very like futuristic city with flying cars and these and like hover like motorcycles and stuff, and then you see dinosaurs as well, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah, it's like something out of the Jetsons, right?
Yeah,
Like you
or
have
like
the
even just
Flintstones
like
and
the towns that
Jetsons.
you see Goku go to, they look like they're like really just normal towns in the middle of nowhere. And then you see the city, you're like, oh my god, like it's straight up from the Jetsons, exactly.
Yeah, that turned off Ray in the beginning because he was like trying to figure out what time period and stuff is going on in. And I'm like, bro, just suspend disbelief, enjoy it. This is like an artist just having fun, like creating mini worlds within on the actual Earth where there's like Western old school towns, there are dinosaurs, there are futuristic towns, and yeah, just embrace like how different it is and how that adds to the adventure.
I mean, even if you look at our world and you go to a developed versus developing country, there's a lot of like there's a huge distance between like technology and stuff. So
100%.
it's not that unrealistic to think about it. Like if we started booming and started getting into like Jetson territory, I doubt developing countries would have it for a long time. So it's like like obviously it is its own universe and it's very weird, but at the same time it's not super unrealistic. The thing that is unrealistic is the fact like there's dinosaurs, but it's anime, it's a
But
world.
I mean,
They could
if
put
we're gonna
dinosaurs
if
into
we're
it.
gonna
We could
get
have dinosaurs, you know?
yeah, if we're gonna get technical, like if their science is so advanced, they could like do a Jurassic Park kind of thing and bring them back.
Oh,
But
that's true.
we don't even need to get technical. But
Yeah.
that's a
Man,
pretty
it's
fun way
so
to
hard to
look at
stay on topic. I
No,
feel you guys. I feel
but
bad that I feel like I keep derailing the
no, but
conversation.
this is
Ray,
all about this arc. You know what I mean? But Ray,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to bring us through kind of this arc and initial thoughts about it.
I will. Just before I do that, can I make one more observation about the time period thing?
go
Yeah.
ahead.
Just because we talked about, I think I mentioned this last episode, the episode before, how certain animals are talking. And I found it really interesting at the very beginning, the monkeys don't talk. Like when the monkeys are stealing the Dragon Ball, and you think like Goku's got the tail, like he turns into this giant ape. The monkeys are the ones that don't talk, yet there are other animals like that are talking and dinosaurs that. So again, it's like a really confusing world.
It's
To me.
selective, yeah. Because yeah,
Selective.
you have those wolves that attack that aren't talking either. So you have animals proper, and you have animals that are like humans and they can talk and they could communicate with people and they yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just found it was funny, especially the monkeys, because they're technically the most alike to humans, and they're the ones that are still
Yeah, I look
animalistic.
forward to you keep on using logic to like explain Dragon Ball. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
is Ray the Animac here, where he always tries like for the One Piece version,
Yes.
he always tries to like put logic into
Yes.
it. I'm like, bruh, it's One Piece.
He's like, wait, do I believe that a person would actually
People
do
have
this?
stretchy arms.
well, I did use the word sexualization last time, which
Yeah, instead of
goes
fan
in-
service, which is fine.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And he called him Rat Master Yoshi. But
That
guys,
was-
guys,
that was a slip.
guys, okay. Ray, go for it. Go for this arc.
All right. So the arc begins. We find out that the gang from the end of the tournament has split up. So Krillin decides he's going to train with Master Roshi more, which we don't really get. Besides, I think just one other scene within a later episode, we don't really get how the training's going. So that's kind of interesting, a loose end that just we don't know about much in this episode. But Goku decides that he's going to search for the four star Dragon Ball, which he still calls his grandfather,
hmm
which is interesting enough. I don't know if he's still confused there, but
Well,
he's
no, it's
looking for the Dragon
in
Ball.
the sub, which I've been watching, guys. He calls it like his grandpa's memento kind of thing.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But so yeah,
Yeah,
he
very
knows,
similar with the manga as well. He just refers to it as like the ball that his grandfather had, and it was like a memento. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Okay.
not like he literally thinks his grandpa has this ball.
Yeah, don't
But maybe
quote-
in the dub they go for to make him a little bit more like naive and
12,
like he's
yeah.
just like
No, it's
And I
cute,
was-
right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I'm pretty sure there was a comment early on where they said, "Are you sure he doesn't think like?" Sorry, someone says like, "Does he actually think this is his grandfather?" So that's even raised. So that's interesting because I think I made note of that. How they're like, "Does he know that this is just like a memento? This is a Dragon Ball. It's not his grandfather." Anyways, so he goes to search for the four-star Dragon Ball. And the first episode, we encounter Nam again from the tournament. And Goku ends up breaking this dam that's called the Roaming River because we find out that Nam's Dino capsule that I believe Master Roshi gave him at the end of the tournament didn't provide enough water for the village. So Goku goes, breaks this dam. The water comes, saves the village. They're able to get water. Then we get, again, this is like super busy arc. We get Emperor Pilaf coming in next episode. He's looking for the Dragon Ball because we find out it's been a year since they've been dispersed. So now, obviously, learning about the legend from the last arc, we realize that you're able to now try to capture the balls, make the wish. So he's still looking for that same wish of ruling the world. So he's going to search for the balls. But then we find, obviously, these new enemies, Red Ribbon Army, who, I'll be honest with you, at the beginning, they didn't really. I don't know how you feel, Gozen
Yeah.
or Briggs. I didn't think them as a true threat. Like they didn't really. I saw some other people like before when I first was introduced to Emperor Pilaf or some of the guys in the tournament. I thought, oh, these could be threats to Goku. I don't know. After learning more about Goku's strength in the last arc and how these guys basically just, destroy villages just through guns and stuff, I thought, how much of a threat could they possibly be?
I thought initially they were pretty badass, not gonna lie, especially compared to Pilaf, because like that's our point of comparison for a villain at this point. And like, they're like boxers and stuff like that. But I did feel like this arc, although like there were important stuff with the Nam stuff, like again, like Briggs was saying, showing the differences in the world, the disparity, how like these guys can't even afford water, and then Bulma has like a mansion. So like looking at that was interesting, but it did start out slow this arc, but I think it really picked up around Muscle Tower.
For sure. And that's where I was basically going to start next. So there is an appearance by the Ox King. The Ox King is kind of defeated in a way. I think he gets something in his eyes, right? And then he gets knocked down by
Yeah,
the
it was
army.
cheating. It wasn't like strength. It was like they trapped
Exactly.
him.
They
Yeah.
trapped him. We find out that there's this hint that possibly Goku and Chi-Chi may end up getting together because Chi-Chi believes that Goku's coming because he wants to marry Chi-Chi. They prepare this big wedding, and the army comes. And I believe Goku doesn't even know what marriage is by the end of it. So again, talking about his naivete,
Yeah,
but
and I think it like we might interject here because like the
absolutely.
explanation might be like, long for the synopsis. So Briggs, feel free to chime in and stuff. But I was wondering, is there even that Chi-Chi moment in the manga?
There is not. For
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff you guys talked about right now, I did not read.
No,
Like
exactly.
I
And
feel
that
like the manga was very straight to the point in regards to like it was like, oh, Goku's going to find the Dragon Ball, and then he finds like I think he found the 6-star ball. This happened in the anime as well, obviously, right?
yeah.
He finds the 6-star ball, fights one of the lieutenants or one of the commanders, and
Silver, right?
it's
Or is it
yeah, it
silver?
was Silver.
Yeah.
Fights him, and then there's the big tower scene. He ends up being like he crashes a plane at one point and gets saved. Like it's very to the point of like find Dragon Ball, fix radar. There's
Yeah.
no peel off. There's no Chi Chi.
And I really appreciated the Chi-Chi parts, especially. Like, again, the Nam parts were like, how much do we care about Nam? Although, like, there are probably Nam stands in the chat. But, with the Chi-Chi parts, like, that was interesting stuff. Like, they had this whole, like, definitely cementing their romance and how she kind of constantly views it as such and she wants to get married, have a wedding. The Ox King is all for it, which I like. Like sometimes you get an overprotective father figure, but the Ox King is straight up like, "Yo, yeah, you want to marry Goku? Let's do it. You're gonna marry Goku." Like he's totally on board, which I thought was like refreshing. And then Pilaf like pretends to be Goku, and in the end we get that moment where Chi Chi like wants to know if like Goku, about the marriage and if it's gonna happen, and Goku is like, yeah, we could eat it later, like it's a type of food. You know what I mean? Like the wedding is
Oh
a
my
type of food,
god.
and that's that. Like there's so much there that I think is great that like you don't get in the manga.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of in terms of the Nom because at first I'm like, after I watched the arc, I'm like, was the Nom episode really necessary? Was it more filler? Really, he could have walked away from the tournament with the idea. We could have had the idea that the capsule will save the village. Did it add much? But then I think something you really get in this arc is Goku again growing a bit more, being empathetic, even caring about like enemies. Like Nam was someone he fought before, right? And now he saved him because that pterodactyl picked him up. He saved him from that. He cared enough to save his village. So you see Goku growing as a person. I know we talked about in the last arc,
Yeah, yeah.
um, especially with the relationship piece. So maybe there's speaking to that. Some of this filler stuff is speaking more to his growth as a person.
Yeah,
But
and I think it like stuff like when and Briggs. So I'm gonna tell you right now that up to this point is probably around where I read in the manga, like this arc. So like
Hmm.
I don't even know really what happens except vaguely, and not from actually watching episodes of what happens for the rest of Dragon Ball. So I'm kind of
Oh, so you're gonna
in
be
in a
a Dragon
type.
Ball virgin
Yeah,
quite a bit.
exactly. So I'm kind of in a type of the same situation as Ray. Obviously, I watched all of Dragon Ball Z. I watched all of Dragon Ball Super and the mangas and stuff. But as far as Dragon Ball goes, yeah, it's gonna be fresh to me too. But I'm
Oh,
guessing it's gonna make a lot more sense the Goku and Chi Chi stuff with like these added moments rather than in the manga where it's kind of like more sudden, like, oh, that one girl is actually gonna be, you know,
well, I'd
his wife.
imagine Chi Chi's already been introduced, and there
She
will be
has.
moments.
She
But I
has, yeah.
think within the manga, like I think she's already been introduced, or she has been introduced.
She
But
has, yeah,
I'd
definitely.
imagine there'd be less moments with her because it's a little bit more. There's not that. How many chapters are there total for Dragon Ball?
I can't say off the top of my head
Like
right now.
roughly, do you have an idea? It's like I
I
think it's only like 100 or 150. Like it's not as long
Yeah, I wanted
as
to
you would
say like
think.
200 or something like that.
200. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit more to the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess he like mangakas don't necessarily have the goal of just always
Hmm.
jumping to like the long series. Like, they don't know when it's gonna end. Like we talk
Exactly.
about
I
Oda
will.
saying 5 years and stuff like that.
I lost my
And
train of thought for a second, but what I was gonna say is you watched Dragon Ball Z and Super, but haven't really like this is where you kind of stopped for Dragon Ball. I will say Dragon Ball, like you've already gotten like crazy different vibes, but just in general, all of Dragon Ball is so different from Dragon Ball Z. Like this is more, I feel like adventure
it
oriented to a
is.
certain extent, right? While
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z is not adventure. Like
It's fan service for battles and
yeah,
like hype moments. I think it does that really well. But yeah, so Ray, yeah, we were just about approaching Muscle Tower, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we get Goku ends up, I believe, after he defeats Silver, he goes into Silver's house and finds, I believe, a dino capsule. Turns into this robot that can fly. So gets into it, it crashes, and Goku ends up getting picked up by this young girl. Goes into this very snowy village, and that's when we get some background about Muscle Tower and more about the Red Ribbon Army and how that's their headquarters. So Goku decides to go there to try to save the village, especially because they've kidnapped one of the who from the village did they kidnap again?
Mayor, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kidnap the village mayor, and so he decides to go to Muscle Tower to rescue him. And on his way there, I mean, he easily destroys a bunch of the Red Ribbon Army guys, destroys their tanks. He gets there, and that's when he approaches the various different floors, which are the different challenges he has to undertake. Which each of these floors are basically at least one episode, I think, except when he gets to the ninja, that gets drawn onto
Oh
two.
man, that
Which
was
the ninja is
amazing.
just a completely, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I can't. I really look forward to talking about this. Also, Briggs, I was gonna ask, like, if in the filler leading up to this, if there was any in the manga him peeing on the camera, on a red
no,
ribbon
that wasn't
camera.
a thing either. I
Yeah.
think a
Oh
lot of
my.
the they added a lot of comedy to the anime
And
for
a
sure.
lot of that kind of comedy, and yeah, that was so funny. Like these guys are spying on him, and you always think in these situations that Goku is like onto them, right? He's like he
Mhm.
senses something, but then he just pulls down his pants and starts peeing on the camera.
So I think this is like a good contrast to the previous arc because in the previous arc, I know like Goku obviously had some battles that he completely or previous arcs where he completely like destroyed people, but in general, I feel like he's struggled. Like he didn't win the tournament. Master Roshi was stronger than him. Like he's had a tough time at certain moments. In this arc, he's fighting against an army where they use guns, and as we've seen, like he could dodge bullets. Even when bullets hit him, they
It's
don't. They
not
just
that
they
big
just
of a
kind
deal.
they
Yeah,
just kind of hurt. It's like he's getting hit with a paintball type of thing.
exactly.
Like
For
it,
us,
it,
for sure.
for
Yeah.
us, exactly. So when he's fighting against these battles, a lot of it's like comedic effect or him just absolutely like them being, oh, it's just a little brat, and then him just absolutely slapping them. It
Well,
isn't.
yeah.
I hope that they're in the future, like in the rest of Dragon Ball, we get to see some like better villains. But I feel like this arc wasn't about the villains. It was probably more so about the comedy and the shock value and type of thing. In which case, the anime was probably a better choice because I know they really expand on the comedy in the anime.
Comedy and even battles. Like I didn't come across as like Goku flying through winning. You know what I mean? In the anime, it was definitely like more so every dude had his own challenge, and
Mm.
perhaps the ninja guy most of all was like hilarious, more
So
so than a good fighter. But yeah, go for it,
I
Ray.
saw it as more psychological than a physical challenge, and I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
like, here is Goku having to go through each floor, and I mean, we start with that giant robot, which ends up really frustrating him because he keeps, kicking its ass. I think he uses the Kamehameha on it, and it still is surviving. So it's this psychological battle for Goku to just continue to fight this thing, and eventually just runs out of batteries. When we eventually get to the ninja, it is like it's humorous. There's a lot of comedy, but there is a lot of like psychology in terms of when it duplicates into these five different things. when it just keeps playing around with Goku. And I think like the number one thing is when he gets to the top, which is White, right? When he gets to meeting White,
Yeah.
I mean, he could take White easily, obviously, but the thing that gets him is when he takes the mayor and holds the gun to his head, and you could tell like Goku is like really torn, and it's one of those moments where again he's almost like he has to kind of give up in a way, at least temporarily. And so I think it's more of like this psychological battle for Goku rather than this physical challenge like in the tournament.
And
I don't know what you-
strategy sometimes too, because like remember that pink blob enemy that literally just bounced back everything that he threw at it?
even the
Yeah,
Kamehameha.
what was that?
Like I feel like it was like a precursor to a certain character we'll get in Z, but like yeah, it was like a pink blob that whatever you kind of threw at it, it would just go back at you. And I don't know, it didn't really explain like its species or anything, but it was an enemy that Goku literally couldn't beat, except that he thought of the freezing strategy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so there was strategy involved, and there was some psychological aspects, like Ray said. But even in the robot fight, for example, like he didn't even realize it was a robot, so he thought that he had like killed a human
Yeah.
when he like blew off its
And
head with a
he's
Kamehameha.
down to do it too. Like obviously he felt sad at first, but he's down to kill if it's necessary
If it's
in Dragon
necessary.
Ball. Yeah.
Although it did seem like it was an accident. He's like, "Oh, you shot like a Kamehameha thing at me. I'll shoot one at you. You could handle it. I haven't been able to hurt you very much." And then boom, his head's blown off.
Yeah. No, exactly. And the part of it too though that did get me, of course he was like, he's a good-hearted dude and he was like, "Oh no, I went too far," kind of thing. But later on in the sub at least, he actually thanks the Android 8, right? So Android 8 hype right there.
Aider.
Hmm?
Aider.
Aider? Is that what he calls him in the dub?
Yeah.
Nice.
What does he call him in the sub?
Uh
Android 8?
Cyborg 8 is like the official what they call him, but he calls him like Hachan, which reminds me of like how they call a One Piece character, which is
Okay.
like Hachi, right? For him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I can't remember what they call him in the manga other than eight being used. So whether it was like I know he was like, "Oh, I'm just an android," and he referred to himself as an android, but it was something eight. I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the android is super interesting. I gotta admit, for me, like a lot of the sci-fi stuff is the most interesting parts of Dragon Ball for me. Like the magic stuff is always secondary to me compared to the sci-fi stuff.
Did you just call it Kamehameha magic?
No, not even. I'm just thinking about like how certain opponents are more magic based, like that rabbit opponent who turns people into carrots that we saw, Ray.
Oh, okay.
And then there are sci-fi, which is like cyborgs and stuff like that, and we'll be seeing more of that eventually too. But just sci-fi elements that I think are really cool. And yeah, Danny said last episode that we'd be getting a lot of movie references. And yeah, we did. Like that dude was pretty much the Terminator, that first guy.
Yeah.
And then we had
Frankenstein.
Terminator. We had a Frankenstein's monster. We had Ninja. Like I feel like this was a nod in Toriyama's own funny way to like Kurosawa films and like samurai ninja films. And it's like, yeah, I feel like we definitely got a lot of it. And I never thought about that before, but I feel like I appreciate how he's taking some stuff that he loves and kind of making it his own, and then we come to love it too.
I have a quick question. What was the ninja's name? Do you guys remember?
Murasaki, I believe.
Murasaki. Have we met Tao yet?
I don't think
Someone
so.
mentioned him.
To me, doesn't sound familiar.
Doesn't sound familiar. Okay.
No.
I thought maybe that was him, but maybe not.
And yeah, so there was that fight. Then there was the pink thing, which was literally he had to defeat him by remembering about the coldness, right? He did that for you too, Briggs. Was it like the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like punched a hole in the wall, and then he got cold and then punched it, and then like he cracked, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting, like that's creature straight up died, right?
Yeah.
Like they're totally down in Dragon Ball, like this children's cartoon or anime to straight up like kill people, have a 12-year-old kill things.
Yeah.
So Ray, how did you feel about that?
Are you talking about the ninja dying or the creature dying?
We can talk about the ninja dying, which is even more like interesting because it's like a human. But I was talking about the pink creature specifically.
I don't know. The pink creature, I mean, I presume it's nowhere near being human, so I don't know. I didn't feel that much of a shock value when I thought, oh my goodness, this thing has died. Because obviously, like, not a lot of things in Dragon Ball so far have died. If not, has anything died yet that we've encountered?
Like I feel like I should be paying more attention to that kind of stuff, but I'm not really. Like I feel like Murasaki in this one seemed like he died at the end there.
Yeah, because he got the bomb thrown
Yeah.
at him.
So it didn't seem like it seemed like that bomb was set up that it would totally, and this might have been filler Briggs, but the bomb was set up that it would have taken out Android 8, but it ended up exploding right when Murasaki was holding it, who's obviously way less resilient than Android 8. So yeah, how could like he has to die there? Like there's no
Yeah.
blasting off again like Team Rocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Overall,
a funny thing
what were your
about.
thoughts, Ray, on this arc compared to the other arcs? And are you enjoying the experience as a Dragon Ball virgin?
So I very much am. First question, how did I enjoy it? I'll be honest with you. I think I like the tournament arc the best. And I
Mhm.
think that's, I don't know, I liked the training. I like we talked about it last week, the Karate Kid-esque feel where you get these kids doing these kind of obscure tasks. They're competitive with each other. They're growing like physically and emotionally, psychologically, even if they don't even know it. There's this great tournament, and like I said, I mean, I remember Geekdom last week asked like, "Did you think that Goku was going to win?" And I thought, really, I had no idea. Like I didn't think he was going to win at first. I was curious to see how it would end, but that was my favorite. I did like the first arc probably in the second spot just because we get that context. I like the adventure type quest that they're on, and this one I don't know. It was just this is anime speaking, just really busy. I found like there were times like right after the muscle tower exploded, I thought, okay, was this going to be the end? And then we get news the next episode about Android 8's bomb, and then we get at the end more about the Red Ribbon Army and him going to find Bulma, and the city almost that amusement park almost exploding. So I just found there was so much going on in this arc that maybe I just didn't enjoy it that much. And really it was focused a lot on Goku. If you think about it, like we didn't get some of those other characters a lot that we had before. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
think one was in the third spot for me so
and
far.
part of that is also like the filler stuff, right? Definitely because
Absolutely.
Briggs will say like it didn't go to like Nam, and then it didn't go to that lady who was trying to steal the Dragon Balls. So there was a lot of stuff thrown in for the filler. But how do you experience the humor, which is what I'm wondering, because you don't often focus on the humor. But to me, like, I don't think I've laughed more than this arc, even though I did laugh throughout watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
But like, how do you experience the humor? Are you just like, oh, I'm not that into it, or do you appreciate it? Like, what's going on there?
No, I mean I appreciate it. I think the last arc there was a bit of dip in the humor, obviously with the seriousness of the fights. We talked about a good it's a little in tone at times in the last one. But this one, there were definitely some moments. I'm thinking with the ninja right near the beginning when he's like, "All right, close your eyes," and he's going to like hide under the rock, and then like he drops those whatever they are, like Playboy magazines or
Yeah, yeah.
Playboy pictures in front of him, and then he's like, "What's this?" He's like, "How did you get that?" So yeah, there were some great moments like that. I mean, the balls scene was just, I thought, hysterical because I'm like, he's not actually going to do this. Like, this is not going to actually be a thing. And then sure enough, and it's just the woman there and pulling down his pants, and like they're even like Yamcha and Oolong's like reaction afterwards is just hysterical. So there were definitely some great moments that way. I did touch on, but yeah, I mean, I do very much appreciate it. Like I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
there's
As a
times I'm like,
storytelling
man,
thing,
like,
though, you thought the past two arcs were more concise and enjoyable.
I think the concise part was key, yeah. And again, this is the anime talking because obviously the
Yeah,
manga
exactly.
didn't have all this filler, but there was just so much going on, jumping from event to event, and like I'm just like, okay, we're gonna end it after Muscle Tower, but it just kept going, and I don't know. I just felt like it could have ended, and maybe we didn't need certain episodes, but I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you think, Gozen?
yeah. That
Even
makes
with
yeah. Go
one,
go for it,
I
Briggs.
was want I just want to say, even without like the filler, it was like way less busy and more concise. But just in general, I think in comparison to the previous arcs, obviously I'm going off memory here. It's been a long time since I watched it, but I do remember like the training and the tournament and the certain fights are just more entertaining than what happened here. But I feel like they were just going with a contrast. Like we just finished a tournament. Let's jump into something a little bit more adventure oriented and more comedic oriented. Let's find the Dragon Balls. And like it was a little bit more fun and showing how strong Goku is compared to the average human in this case.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed some of the like extra stuff we got, which is includes like the Android story because he was like this guy who didn't want to hurt anybody, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of Dragon Ball is subverting expectation, and I feel like in many ways, a lot of the ninja stuff I saw with Murasaki, like I saw echoed in One Punch Man, where like you set up a villain to be like super OP, and then like when Ray OP means overpowered, so like super strong, and you set them up to like be this unbeatable person, and they did it in such a cool way in the anime, but then they actually show up and they're kind of like a joke compared to their main character. And yeah, you really see like how Dragon Ball inspired all of these other shows, and like how all these other shows give nods to it as well. Well, I wanted to ask, what are some of the ninja stuff you enjoyed the most, Ray? Like some Murasaki moments. And Briggs, you can comment on this too. I just don't know how much they took out.
Okay, so I talked about that kind of hide and seek tactic he used near the beginning.
Yeah, so when he kind of hide and seek, when he like kind of went under a boulder and he's like,
Yeah, he's
give
like,
me
count to 30, and then like Goku can't count past 26.
I love how it was supposed to be like a fight, and he's just like, all right, hide and seek, count to 30 for me, please. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And like Goku,
and most opponents, like Goku's like, all right, I'll count to 30 because he didn't even see him as a threat. Like he
no,
right
he's
away
having
when
fun. Like he's a
he's just
boy
having fun with it.
having fun. Like that's
Exactly.
literally what it came off to me as. It's like this guy's like trying to like kill him, like trying to kill a child, and Goku is just like, "Oh, well, yeah, sure, let's play hide and seek." And he's
sure,
like,
I'll
"You
close
sure?"
my eyes and count to 30 to give you an advantage.
Yeah, he's like, "You sure complain a lot." Like he said that in the end, which is like he notices, but he like just goes with it. I thought a lot of this cool stuff too was like him running on water, him like doing the brothers thing, or like five of them pop up. Like
How about the impressive mat trick? Remember that?
yes, that
Lifting
was
up the
something I
mat?
wanted to
Oh,
highlight
yeah,
too.
try this. And then he throws a spade at him. And then all of a sudden he realizes he's out of mats and he gets hit in the head.
Oh man, yes. So he literally, and Briggs again. I don't know if this was in the manga, but he keeps lifting what are they called, tatami mats, like on
Yes.
from the floor, and then instead of freaking holding one, the dude keeps like throwing it when he blocks like one shuriken, and
He's like,
like
and he's like, oh, I should have had 6.
or just hold one, bro. But yeah, he kept
Yeah.
like changing the stuff.
Like that, if to him the issue wasn't that he should have held one, but he should have had more mats.
Exactly. Exactly. And then there was the moment which was very reminiscent to me of like the One Punch Man moment where he punches the ninja like, in the balls pretty much. And in this moment Goku did it with a pole, and he just hit Murasaki, and like it landed right in his butt from the looks of it. The power pole. So
Yeah.
that must have not been comfortable.
I
to him.
think they kept pretty much its entire, like this fight at least. Like,
Good. Yeah, 'cause, like, that
I saw
was
the
good
boulder
humor.
scene and
Yeah.
the hide and go seek and the fact that Goku was able to like find him in the tree really easily. I saw. You guys haven't mentioned when he was underwater with the pole,
Oh
right?
God, yes.
Is this
so
with a
many
kettle?
great moments. Yes.
Yeah, with the kettle and he pours tea down the thing, his like thing. It was a good scene. It's not as good as the JoJo's variation of that though.
Oh,
In JoJo's Ray, what's it called? The main protagonist pee down it.
really?
Guy's hiding from them, and he
Do
just.
I even
oh.
remember this? Oh man, what
You
season?
don't- It was part 3.
Okay, so I definitely watched it.
They put dirt, and they hear the guy coughing down there under the water. Then they put some spiders, and then they're like, "All right, the final thing," and then they start pissing down it.
Oh man, Sam the Gum Man, thank you. You're a mad lad. Thank you for the donations. And yeah, like that stuff. I can't believe like I missed it. But JoJo's has so many great moments that like it's almost hard to keep them all in check. But
JoJo Virgin when?
Well, I'm telling Ray, like, so obviously we're doing Dragon Ball Virgin and we're gonna like stick to that, but also like there's the option for the anime version, and like imagine him reacting to some like shorter series.
Dude,
Like, let's
I
say a part
literally
of JoJo's, One Punch Man. Like, there's so
Death
many
Note.
anime.
Death Note,
Death
man.
Note,
He's like to everyone watching. Like this is Ray's first anime,
yeah,
so he needs to watch Death Note. Furumetere Akumesto Brotherhoodo,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. So you're naming like great ones, but I was naming like good ones too. But like I'm also thinking like out there ones. You know,
Oh
like
yeah.
JoJo's
Oh,
is out there. One Punch Man is
dude,
out
I
there.
would.
Like,
Like, I feel like you could show. Yo, that'd be hilarious if you showed Ray like
yeah,
some
some
like High School of the
JoJo.
Dead,
Yes, High School of the
like
Dead.
something really. Oh, or like Prison School, something like really like out there that you would not recommend to like a new someone new into anime.
Exactly.
You keep stuff that's more Western, like Dragon Ball and Full Metal Alchemist, and then you could show them, hey, anime can be a little bit more mature with Death Note, and then you kind of like tease around like the ecchi stuff usually, but I think it'd be a hilarious idea to get like an anime version and just show them the most like weird and ecchi and cultured shows. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And like that's definitely like in the works, hopefully, for the future. We're still getting the hang of the Dragon Ball version. But yeah, Ray is such a like I don't mean this in a bad way, but like a normal person.
yes, I
And
could tell
like
considering that you explained to him OP.
yeah, yeah. So he's such like a normal person and coming from that kind of place and like bringing him into this crazy like the craziest of anime is
Interspecies reviewers.
such a
Oh my
exactly
god.
such a like him with his voice replying to that would just be hilarious.
Wait, what do you mean by my voice?
But like I don't you're well the way you talk and everything it's very proper. We come from an academic background like both Ray and me like we did like masters in literature and we talk sometimes like we write essays and like this is even more like pronounced with Ray I feel like. So
Mhm.
that's why I think it would be funny.
he, he speaks like an anime virgin.
Yeah, exactly. You got like Master Yoshi, it's gold, man. It's gold.
Oh,
Man, I had to write that down.
Yeah, definitely. And there's like some great moments of just like inspirational moments in Dragon Ball where like Goku straight up says at one point like men can't give up. Like that was a quote in the from the sub and like I love that kind of like I feel like we don't get enough like manliness. And
yeah.
like I feel like Goku is like a great example of it. Like dude's 12 years old and he's like fearless and he's like yo, we can't give up. We're men. We gotta like I appreciate that kind of like, you know, man up kind of situation that we
Yes.
get in like anime.
I'd imagine that comes from his naivete, innocence, and overall strength as well. Like if you're that OP off like just being like this at the age of 12, but still knowing absolutely nothing of the world, like you're not gonna be scared of anything.
And you know what's interesting about like Goku, like he just doesn't like maybe later when he grows up, but at this point I feel like even if he lost, like he wouldn't be that upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
He's just like enjoying life. It's like this everything's a grand adventure. Like everything that happens, him losing the tournament, it's like, oh man, I'm really hungry now. Like it's just like passing by and like enjoying the moment rather than like trying to be the best or something. Obviously he's improving, but like it's not all about winning for him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a moment in the dub where he's riding on the Nimbus. This is when he gets his Nimbus back, and the narrator says something like he's just like in the moment enjoying the scenery. So again, that
Yes.
idea of just being present, like being, I mean, he doesn't understand social norms in a way that's actually a good thing because he's thinking for himself. He doesn't care what other people think, right? We see that with the improper, like pulling out his pants all the time and willing to fight naked in the last tournament until Krillin gives him his clothes. So yeah,
Bro,
he's a super unique character.
I love the way he doesn't care what people think. Like that's inspirational to me. Like to the extent like he does that. Like Briggs, in the anime, they also had like this whole extended version of him going through the cities and stuff like that, and like him reacting to people like, oh, where are they all rushing to? Because he like stands in the way of traffic, and
Yeah.
like people, he jumps in a taxi, and then the guy's like, wait, you don't have any money? Get out! And he's like, why is that guy so angry? And then the cop gives him a ride, and he's like, I don't have any money. And he's like, you think I charge you? And he's just like so confused because he doesn't know how anything works. But
Wait, so in the manga, he fights some guy for the money, like that little prize
yes,
money.
like a Bruce
And
Lee
then does he
looking
get that
guy.
stolen from him or does he spend it stupidly? I don't remember what happens.
Yes, so for us, he straight up just gave it to a girl for giving him directions to the cop. So it's like this
Oh.
huge freaking amount of money that he won. And then he's like, "Oh, lady, can you tell me where the police officer is?" And then she points him there, and then all of a sudden he gives her like 100,000 of their money,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
and
And
then
that's
leaves.
and that's after if I recall, beating up like two muggers who wanted to steal it from him.
Exactly,
Like, he's
exactly, and
willing to
like
fight them to protect it, and then here's the money for giving me directions.
exactly, it's all about like this principle kind of thing where it's
Mhm.
like he doesn't care about the money, but he's not gonna
Man,
let you like steal from him.
young Goku reminds me of Luffy so much.
Yeah, and definitely. And I feel like Luffy would take loss, like worse. But in general, yeah, I do see the
Mhm.
comparisons. And like you even have Monkey in Luffy's name, which
Mhm.
I don't think is a coincidence. I think it's straight up an homage to Dragon Ball.
100%. Well, both of these characters, I believe, were actually based off of Sun Wukong,
Yeah, and to an extent, I feel like with
and
Luffy, he
Dragon
just
Ball
did both.
inspired One Piece to a certain extent.
Exactly. I
If
think
you already know this is a thing.
Toriyama definitely did the Monkey King, and then with Luffy, Oda did like Monkey King maybe a bit, but then also Goku. Like huge influence there with the eating, with like everything, right?
Mhm.
Thank you. I am weak sauce. Oh, I am
Tweak.
tweak sauce. Okay,
I don't know.
that makes more sense. Thank you for the sub. Tweak sauce. Yeah. So Ray, how do you feel about all that?
Good, but question for you. This is near the end of the arc. How do you feel about Yamcha having like a following now when it comes to girls?
Yeah, I feel like that wasn't new, in the sense that
Has he changed as a person? Like, is he more confident? Or you think he's? I mean, I guess we
no,
figure out with the girl who is trying to steal the Dragon Ball that he's not. But is this something that's always been a thing,
yeah, I
or is
think
it
he's
like
always been like a guy women are drawn to. You saw that when Bulma saw him and she's like, "Oh my god, this guy's so handsome." Right? Like right from the beginning. So I think he's always had that. It's just even now he's not great at dealing with it. And so you have women who are like taking advantage of him because he doesn't know how to talk to them and stuff like that. But yeah, he's supposed to be uh, a potential womanizer who can't actually womanize because he's scared around women. But he like looks the part.
Yeah.
So that's the situation. Yeah, that was some funny humor too, where literally like he's fighting for his life with that one lady thief, and then Bulma looks from like a torn piece of like wall, and she sees and it looks like they're making out, and she gets super mad at him. Like that's just also interesting. I like that where we had like the part 1 of the Dragon Ball journey was like this adventure that kind of wrapped up pretty nicely. Like people got what they were looking for, and then you had Bulma and Yamcha find each other, so they didn't have to wish for like to be able to talk to girls or for a boyfriend. But then you have this real life stuff happening where they get in a fight. It's not the end of it, and so
Mhm.
life goes on. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like in a cartoon, like you have a happy ending, but then you have oh no they're fighting, and then you get relationship stuff. And
Yeah.
Bulma is just like she's probably not the best girlfriend material, but like she's just so hilarious, and like I love watching her and her character. It's so funny.
Dude,
Like
her parents are pretty funny.
dude, they are. And like her arguing with her mom, and her literally like once at the tournament she said she's always looking for an upgrade even though she's with Yamcha. Like it's just she's so not moral like Goku, but
Oh
like
yeah.
it's kind of
The
funny.
mom
You know what I
legit
mean?
offered sake to Goku, and then Bulma's like, "You can't give sake to or alcohol to a kid," and she's like, "Oh, how rebellious!" to Bulma. I'm like, "What?"
I
And
thought
then
yeah.
you got the dad saying, "Oh, can you use the Dragon Balls to find me a pretty woman or something?" Or the wife was even saying, "Oh, maybe I'll come along and find a nice man."
No, yeah, they're amazing, and I thought that was hilarious too. That stood out to me where it's like, don't give the underage boy alcohol, and she straight up like, oh, she's at that rebellious phase
Yeah.
when they are totally the rebels in this situation. Like Bulma's like a regular girl who's obviously a genius when it comes to like science and stuff, and they're all like, these rebels who don't follow any kind of parenting protocol. Ray, how did you feel about that whole interaction with Bulma in general and her parents?
Well, question for you. Did you notice? Okay, this is when Goku was first introduced to Bulma's mom. Was there like a weird kind of zoom up to her and like almost like I don't know what was going on. It almost looked like it was she was someone that Goku was like attracted to.
Yeah, that was weird. I did notice that.
I
And
didn't know where that was going because nothing really came out of it. It was just a weird kind of introduction, like a slow zoom up, and we had those like, red colors on the outline. I'm like, is this a thing? Like, is Goku actually attracted to her? Because he's never shown any attraction to
no,
a woman
that's
before.
interesting that you bring that up. Thank you, I am Tweak Sauce, for another sub. And yeah, we got a situation where it looked like that. I don't think that's actually what happened. Like Goku's
Yeah,
face didn't get red or anything. But I get how it looked like that from the angle they gave us. But I feel like again it was playing off movie tropes and how like Bulma's mom is this like blonde femme fatale almost figure, and you see her and she's like Marilyn Monroe kind of thing. So
hmm
like I feel like they wanted to emphasize that kind of thing. But like, yeah, Goku's face didn't get all red. He didn't get shy or nervous. Like, he was his usual self. So I definitely think like Luffy, who we keep talking about, he's not even thinking about girls.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or women.
I just find it funny how at the end we're right back to where we started at the beginning of the first arc. Bulma's off for the Dragon Balls again, looking for the perfect guy, and Goku is just tagging along and really after the one Dragon Ball, but he doesn't really have necessarily. He's just tagging along with her to try to help her. So
Yeah, and
curious to see what happens in the next arc.
how
Yeah,
did you
it's
like
weird because I
the
feel like
yeah.
there was always a lot of direction with Dragon Ball Z, but I don't really know the direction now other than just like let's find the 4-star ball. Like, does Goku? Does it sound like he wants to become a lot stronger and fight strong opponents? Do we have that feel already?
Definitely we do have that from the tournament arc, but yeah, this is a
Hmm.
bit of a break from that where we're going
Sure.
back to adventure and where we're going back to him finding that memento. But definitely I think this it will go back to that soon. Again, I didn't watch it, but I think when we get more tournament arcs and stuff like that, we're gonna go back to that feeling where he wants to keep fighting strong guys and like uh become as strong as possible. But you're right, this arc is very much not focusing on him like saying he wants to become the strongest or anything. It's just him enjoying fighting people, having fun, a kid on an adventure, and also with some purpose there because it would be kind of you need a purpose, right? With a story, like something they're going after. I heard like with Bleach again dropping an anime that Ray has never heard about, but one of the problems was like he didn't really have something he wanted. He always had to have something happen that he reacted to.
Hmm.
So yeah, like with Goku, he's always has some kind of goal, but I think that overarching goal of becoming the strongest will go more into focus as we move forward.
Well,
Fair
like
enough.
Briggs alluded to, this arc is like him displaying his power that he basically
He has new
built
power.
through,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
through the last arc. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting because yeah, you see how becoming strong is not just his only priority in life. Like Krillin, it looks like that's probably his number one priority because he goes and he wants to train back with Master Roshi. And Goku, I guess he has the option if he wants to, but he wants to go on this journey and he takes time away from training. So
Yeah, key to that though is that Roshi straight up said, "I
yeah, he
have
doesn't
nothing more
want.
to teach you,"
Yeah,
and Krillin did not do as well as Goku. So although Briggs mentioned that like Goku and Krillin are somewhere near like the same level, Goku has definitely like already surpassed him at the tournament.
Hmm.
So he's not in the same boat where Krillin I think feels like he has to play some catch up, and so that's kind of where we're at. And yeah, he was doing some push-ups with like turtles on his back, and he did like 999 and couldn't do anymore. And Roshi is like, "You have a long way to go." So
and launch is still there.
yeah, no, for sure.
I
So
wonder how the sneezing's going.
yeah,
Whether
and
that's still a problem.
that's what I like about like these stories too. Like you always have that stuff going on in the background, even if you're not paying attention to it.
Ah,
And
Launch. Such a
yeah,
memorable character.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, you know that Launch is like literally doing stuff. There's Roshi and Krillin are having adventures while we're also currently following Goku. And Camo324, thank you for the sub.
Actually, it was Tweak Sauce gifted Camo us up.
Ah, cool. Yeah, Briggs is educating me on this stuff because I am new to it, but that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I love Twitch. I love Twitch so much.
Yeah, no, and you've been killing it on it as well.
Oh, thank you.
And so we discussed a lot. Anything that remains for you, Ray, that you wanted to mention?
Not really, just one quick thing about the humor, going back to the humor. I mean,
Yeah.
one thing near the end, it just got me, was this is near the end of the arc. I think before they go into the city, when he's just saying goodbye to the village there, and he's running towards the girl, and he ends up not caring about her, like to hug her, and just
Yes.
goes. How about that?
I
Wait,
highlighted
who
that
does he end
moment
up hugging?
too.
Who does he end up hugging? You cut
Yeah,
off
he
for a
goes
second.
right for the food.
You know
Right
that
for the food.
you know that red-haired girl, Briggs.
The one
Yes,
he-
yes.
Yes. So
Well, I mean, manga's in black and white, but I'm assuming I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. The girl
so-
who saved him from the plane crash and then gave him food.
exactly. So she, right after he had the Chi-Chi moment in the anime, I guess to reaffirm that Chi-Chi is his girl and not this new one. And then we have, like, he meets this girl, and then at the end, you have this, like, stereotypical moment where he finally sees her, he's accomplished this huge mission, he saved the mayor, he saved everybody, he goes to run, like, to her, it seems like they're gonna embrace in a hug, but she's actually carrying food, and he, like, jumps to the food, and he starts, like, eating the food, and they all start laughing, like, perfectly capturing, like, how Goku is, like, more into food than actually, like, girls or anything like that. So that was another great moment that they had with this filler stuff as well.
Again, he doesn't care about social convention. Whatever his desire is, his primal desire at the time, he's got to tend to it.
And I appreciate that. I feel like a lot of mangakas like kind of create characters like that because to an extent they value that and they want to like be like that to themselves sometimes. Like I know, I think I read somewhere that like Oda wears like sandals to like important events and stuff like that. Stuff like, you know, not caring. Luffy would also wear like whatever, like not making a big deal of other people's opinions and just being true to yourself. I think that's something that anime characters do a good job of embodying.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Everybody, just want to remind you that you could find this episode and the first two episodes of the Dragon Ball Virgin podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. We also post it on YouTube on the Rant Cafe channel. And if you're listening to one of those platforms, we're recording this live. It's always on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/rantcafe. Thank you, Briggs, for coming on.
Of course, it was my pleasure, man.
Yeah. Ray, thanks again for like your great input. We've really valued the virgin aspect of your anime-hood.
Well, thanks for being open to listening to me.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll see you next time. See ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang!